This is Liz.
This is Jade.
And this is Carly. And you're listening to
Babes and
Babies! You guys, it is raining where I'm recording right now in Bella's room, and lightning just struck, I swear, 50 feet from my face. I mean, I'm inside a house.
Because I heard it so loud over this, and your whole screen like went white. It was so bright.
It was like
for a second, I was like, "Is she gone?
Is God
I'm alive?
Is God trying to smite you?" No, just kidding.
Maybe. What's so funny though is like, so Julia Kinney lives 2 exits away, and she's like, "My power's out. Can I come over?" I'm like, "Yes. Keep me safe in this scary storm."
Oh my gosh.
So you may be hearing her voice in a while. I don't know. It's possible. Anything's possible, guys.
Anything is.
Emmy. I am having the Emerson storm over here, as I was telling you guys earlier.
The Emerson storm.
Well, okay, so she's teething again, and her top 2 teeth are coming in now. And right when they're starting to actually like pierce through the gums is like, it is like the I guess the cusp of everything. Like it all just comes to a head, and she's in such a bad mood, and I feel so bad, and nothing's helping her. And
That's so sad.
I know, and so she's so fussy, and never have I ever felt more like a monkey in the National Geographic, or like, like in the,
Jade.
Yeah, on TV. You know, when you watch and like the baby monkey is clinging to the mama monkey. She is literally my baby monkey now. Never have I ever felt more like a monkey. Because
I'm going to start calling you Jane Goodall.
Because she is.
You are the monkey woman.
She's my baby monkey. She just wants to.
Well, she's a really cute baby monkey.
She is. But she just wants to constantly be on me and be carried. So it's just what we're dealing with over here.
Oh, man. Bella's definitely getting to that I want to be carried all the time thing. Where I used to be able to like put her in a swing. Now she's like, "Oh, no, not this swing. Not today, Mom."
It's crazy, like the different phases that they go through. Like, I wonder like what's going through their minds. They're like, "No, I want to be independent and I'm doing this." And like, "Wait, I need you. I'm going through this." And it's like, what's happening in your mind, baby?
Whoa,
I know.
Major lightning again, you guys. I'm in it. I'm in the eye of the storm. Sorry. Okay.
That is so crazy.
That's so weird.
Where's and Huck looks like totally unfazed. Look at him.
Yeah, what does he do? He's just like straight chilling over here. He's been really tired though, because my parents just moved in their house yesterday, and he's been playing with their dog for like basically like a week.
Yeah, his little best friend.
Exhausted.
Aww.
Yeah, his best friend. They're actually really cute together. Oh, Emmy. Okay. What else has been going on with you guys?
I know you said you had a funny story to share, Liz.
Oh my gosh. So I have something really sweet.
Did you poop yourself? Oh, okay. Never mind.
No.
Sorry.
And then I have a funny story. I mean, the funny story could be a pooping story. We know that's possible with me at any time. Legit. No, so I was at work, and sometimes people will be like, "Are you Liz from The Bachelor?" or whatever. And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And
Sure.
So I've had like funny things happen before. I remember like this one girl was like, "Oh my gosh, you look like Liz from The Bachelor, except for you're way prettier." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." Yeah.
That's so weird.
So this week I was talking, I was talking to this table. For those of you that don't know, I've been in the service industry for way too long now, and it's starting to wear on my soul. But I was talking to this table, and this lady's like, "You look so familiar. Where do I know you from?" And I always like play dumb when people say that. I'm like, "I don't know." And so I was like, whatever, came back by, and they were about to leave. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I figured it out." She's like, "Has anyone ever told you that you look like Tia from The Bachelor?"
Stop.
Yeah.
That's
so
like
funny.
freaking hilarious.
No. I was like, "No, nobody's ever told me that before." She's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys look so much alike." And I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, you know, she felt really dumb later when she started looking up pictures of Tia and found you.
I don't think I'd pop up when Tia pops up.
I mean, anything's possible. Weird people pop up when you like look up my name. You're like, wait, why is this person from season 2 of The Bachelor on here. Who are you, mysterious person? Yeah.
Weird people pop up when they search your name.
Yeah, look up your name and then scroll through like images on Google and you'll be like, wait, why you?
Don't look up my name and scroll through images on Google.
I think oh yeah. Don't do that to Jade. Do it to me and Liz.
Do it to me.
Or, maybe do, and you'll get a little treat.
Everyone's doing it now. It's too late. We can't go back.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
But then I want to share my sweet story really quick. So,
yes.
Vito and I live like an hour away from each other, and sometimes we go long times without seeing each other. Like recently, I went 10 days without seeing him because our schedules are so opposite.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I know, it sucks. So, and he works like an hour away. So the other day I was like at home getting ready for work, and we like FaceTime all the time. So he FaceTimes me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making a smoothie." He's like, "You want to make me one?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." He's like, "Well, let me in." I was like, "What?" And he like left work early just to come say hi to me before I had to go to work. And like, he drove me to work and dropped me off. And it was so cute.
That is so sweet.
It made my day because I just like, I'll go days without seeing him. And legit, he came over for like 30 minutes just to like kiss me, then drive me to work. He's like, "I wanted to be your personal Uber today." And I'm like, "I love you."
Isn't it wonderful when guys are sweet?
I know.
They don't realize that like the littlest things can mean like so much because we don't forget those things.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Because they never do them.
But you know how easy they have it then, because they can go like weeks or months without doing one little thing, and then they'll do the tiniest sweet thing, and then we just like melt over it. Like they can just get away with it because the minute they do something, then we're just like,
we're
like,
good for a while.
I know. Then we're good. Yeah, then we're like, okay, like that'll last me so long.
I know. Really, all they have to do is like one tiny thing like every month, and we can like live off of that. The flame can keep going. Speaking of flames going out, so I keep having these dreams where Evan and I are breaking up. And we're like not breaking up. But we're not breaking up. He's breaking up with me. And by breaking up, I mean divorcing me. But it's so weird. And I have them. I've had them for like a week. And like what's so weird is whenever I have these types of dreams, he never talks to me in them. He's just like off.
Really?
And I'm like, why? Like, can someone tell me what's going on? Please. Like, I need to know why this is happening. And he's never around to like confront the issue. And then like what was so messed up was the other night in one of my dreams, I ended up being like talking to Liam, who's 12 in my dream. And I was like, "Liam, like, why is your dad divorcing me?" And he's like, "Well, he says that you just don't really have strong roots." And I was like, "What?" And then I woke up and I was like, "Evan, I hate you."
I was going to say, did you wake up mad?
Yes. And it's happened like, I mean, since we've been together, I probably had like 20 dreams like this, but it's just been like this week that they've been like super strong. And I keep waking up being really sad.
That's so sad.
I know.
I've been having lots of sex dreams lately.
That would be better.
Yeah. But I also think it's because I'm ovulating this week. So
yeah.
So I
was
know.
ovulating this week too.
Yeah. You are?
I was on Sunday.
So Jade,
was like
that
my
means...
ovulation day.
Oh wow.
So that means it's Bing City over here.
Hey, stop. Stop. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Y'all keep talking. Okay.
I feel like, Jade, like when I'm having sex, I guess I don't have sex dreams, but since it's not in my life currently, I have way more sex dreams now because it's not happening.
Oh, see, I think mine are all just hormonal based. And I didn't really have a lot before I got my period back. But now that I have it, I've been having tons of them. I feel like it's just I think it's just like,
it's very primal.
Yeah. Well, there's like testosterone, like all my estrogen levels have lowered back down. So my testosterone's balanced out again or something. So now I'm having all these like sexual dreams.
When did you get your period back?
Like 2 months ago. I've had 2 cycles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
is it back to the way it was before you had Emmy, or are they different?
They're pretty much the same. They're really light though, still, which I've never I've never been heavy, and then just tons and tons of cramps, like just like pain. But I feel like that's always kind of been my cycle. Okay, you guys, we need to take a quick break, really quick from our conversation to talk about one of our amazing sponsors, and that is Nectar Mattresses. So my brother just moved in with us a couple months ago, as you guys know, and we put him on a Nectar mattress, and he is obsessed. I don't think the guy is ever going to move out of our house. Nectar is America's most comfortable mattress for a cloud-like experience. They give you 365 nights to discover that happily ever after. If you aren't 100% satisfied and riding into the sunset, they will pick up your mattress for free and you will get a full refund. What makes Nectar Sleep mattresses so great is they have an 11-inch deep mattress. So yes, you guys, bigger is better, and they utilize a unique 5-layer technology that no other mattress on the market has. We have an exclusive listener offer. Buy now and get $125 off and 2 free premium pillows with any mattress offer. And you guys, you get free delivery. That's nectarsleep.com/babes and get the best sleep you've ever had for every night of the rest of your life and then some.
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm back. Julia is in my kitchen on her computer. Wait, are you saying you started your period?
Well, I've had 2. And so that's why.
You've had 2?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why
I've had 2 too.
Oh, 2 too.
I've had them for like almost 20 years.
Well, I went like a year and a half without them. It was so weird, So then I was like, whoa, I have to go buy like things again for this. It was really strange.
Tampons are really expensive, guys.
They are.
Also, okay, so, you use Diva Cup, but I can't like pee with a tampon in. I have to take the tampon out and pee and then put a new one in because I don't know if it's like a cleanliness thing. It freaks me out.
Weird.
I have a friend like that too.
Way too many.
Yeah, that's so many tampons.
It's so many. It's ridiculous. But I can't help it. It freaks me out. I have to before I pee, pull on the string so it's there's not pee on the string that I'm touching, and then I pee and then I put a new one in every time.
I would prefer to free bleed every time. I have those Thinx panties that you're allowed to free bleed into.
Explain these to me.
You just free bleed into them.
I just feel like my period's too heavy.
How does that work?
See, I'm light, but they're just absorbent. So it just it's pretty much, I don't know, you can just free bleed because it just feels like the most cleanly thing for me to do.
Really? I don't think I could do that. When I feel blood coming out. Yeah, I can hear that. It's so cute. When I feel blood coming out, I hate it. I feel make it stop. I don't want to feel it coming out. I just want to pull it out, put one in, and not feel it. Even at night, if I sleep with the pad, I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just all gross in the first place.
I do really want to try those underwear though. Because I've seen people doesn't Mila Kunis do them? Somebody does them. Somebody, hey, Huck, stop, lay down. Some celebrity is a spokesperson for them. I think it's Mila Kunis.
I'm gonna Google it, but not right now. But after, because we do need to get our guest on. But
oh yes.
But let's talk about it after we get her on because I'm very interested now because I really do love the Thinx panties, the free bleeding. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. But I do want to introduce real quick who we're having on our episode today because we are having a psychologist on who specializes in maternal mental health, and we are talking today about grief and loss after a miscarriage or loss and how to deal with your grief. And I feel like it's a topic that's not talked about a lot. I feel like miscarriage, it's very common. And for some reason in society, we kind of just scoot it under the rug. And she's been an advocate for busting that open and just talking about it because so many women have gone through it. So we're having, is that the thunder?
Yes, it's so
loud. Oh my God.
She's setting the stage here.
Yeah, she's getting like a very dramatic introduction.
Introduction, yeah.
We're having Jessica Zucker on, so she's going to just touch on how to cope and grieve through the process of losing your child or a pregnancy. So, should we get her on?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. I guess we just want you to introduce yourself to our audience and what inspired you to start a career in maternal mental health.
Oh, are you recording now?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Yes. So used to like a full-on like intro and everything. Okay. So we're just starting and you'll edit.
Yeah, sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. So thank you so much for having me on the show. I am so excited that you are spotlighting such an important women's health issue that impacts women globally and is too under talked about. So approximately 1 in 4 pregnancies result in miscarriage. You might already know that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. And then the statistic on stillbirth, which is a loss that comes, 20 weeks and after, is 1 in 160 pregnancies. So
my goodness.
When you think about that, there are tons of women walking around in pain, wondering if they're going to have children, wondering if they'll be able to build a larger family. Anyway, so this is just such an important topic. It should not be stigmatized. It should not be silenced. There should not be shame around it. Yeah. So as you know, I'm a psychologist. I'm also a writer, and I specialize in women's reproductive and maternal mental health and have for almost a decade at this point. And when I specialized in this field, I actually came to the table with no personal experience. So I was simply interested in women's health in a broad sense, and more specifically reproductive health, but not because of something I had lived through firsthand. And then in 2012, I had a 16-week miscarriage myself. And this experience rendered me so much more able to understand from a corporeal perspective, not just a theoretical perspective, the experiences of so many of my patients who I sit across from on a daily basis, hearing about grief and loss and lack of support and pain, marital issues, all of the above.
Yeah, that's, I feel for you. It's crazy that 1 in 4 is the number, but yeah, it's such a deep topic. I feel like such a deep pain that's not talked about, like you said. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. And, it's interesting because we don't talk about it. Somehow this seems to trickle into the fact that then all these women going through this are sharing that they are feeling under-supported, that they're feeling isolated from their friendship groups, that they're feeling alienated even from their community. And yet, again, the number is so high, you would think that things would be different. So that's partly why I'm so inspired to try to create some cultural change with the campaign that I started, with all the writing that I do, and so with your podcast as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about your Instagram and your campaign, I Had a Miscarriage?
Sure. So as I said, I had a 16-week miscarriage in 2012. And at the time, I already had a healthy son and, was pretty sort of dead set on growing our family. But after having such a horrendous, traumatic experience, I was terrified to try to become pregnant again and to live every day in that pregnancy. But about 4 months after my loss, I did get pregnant again. And so after my daughter was born and some time had passed and I could settle into mothering these 2 babies and incorporating my loss into parenting, I decided, based on the overwhelming amount of research out there that says that women are reporting feeling a sense of shame, self-blame, and guilt following pregnancy loss. And I just decided I had to do something about this in my own small way. So I decided to start the campaign. I kicked it off with my first New York Times piece. The hope really was that this hashtag would go viral and that women globally would come across this conversation and say, you know what, I never talked about my loss. It's time. Oh,
I'm sorry. My baby's teething and she's.
Oh. Should I keep talking?
Yeah, yes. Sure. You can continue. We'll just talk to you.
Okay. Yeah. So, my hope was that people would feel inspired to either share their own stories or even speak, let's say, to their mothers, their grandmothers, sisters, aunts, whoever within their families about these reproductive histories to find out, if anything like this had happened within the family. I just wanted to kind of, shed light on a topic that needs more talking about. And so I've done that in a variety of ways. I launched the campaign, like I said, with my first New York Times piece. And now every year in October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. So every October now I do something additional for the campaign with the hope of talking about various aspects of loss.
Wow, that's amazing. So we have a few questions from listeners, if you wouldn't mind answering. One is, how do you get rid of the fear that you'll miscarry again? I've miscarried and I just can't seem to calm down about the fact that it might happen again.
That I feel like that's the most ubiquitous, most often asked question that I get, even in my, therapy practice. And the truth is, there is no answer to completely eschewing anxiety after you've gone through something so difficult. However, what I try to tell myself in my subsequent pregnancy and what I try to share with my patients and friends and other people is to kind of just try to focus on right now. So right now, as far as I know, this pregnancy is healthy. This pregnancy is going smoothly because, yes, our healthcare providers can do all the testing and we can find out, about the health of the fetus through these kinds of things. But that doesn't necessarily squelch the anxiety, even when we learn that the pregnancy is in fact healthy. So again, it's really sort of trying to be present with how you're feeling. And I think the more women can kind of lean into the grief and the fear, the sooner it actually goes away. It's like when we're trying so hard not to feel something, we grip on tighter. And actually it kind of like keeps the anxiety even more present.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely, it's like the moment that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so anxious about this. Then you start you're like, oh my gosh, I am feeling anxious about this. Oh wow, my anxiety. Like,
exactly. But you're anxious about being anxious.
Totally. Yeah. But, I mean, it's just, I am lucky to have not, gone through this. But I had a fertility specialist tell me that they didn't think I could get pregnant, in general. And so I know that there's, at that point, I was almost mourning a loss that of the future and was anxious and sad about that. I was lucky enough to be absolutely blessed with, my child is 5 months old, but I know there's lots of people that, that asked us that question too. Like, how do you cope with, if someone tells you that you won't be able to have children or
Yes.
Like, how do you cope with that sense of loss that isn't, a baby inside of you, like that you can't have?
I think that's such an important question. And actually, I don't get asked this enough. I think that is such a beautiful and vital point, that if women who are struggling with fertility issues, each and every time they get their period, for example, when they're hoping to conceive, that in and of itself is its own loss. Maybe it's a small L instead of a big L for loss, but it still represents that what you're dreaming about, what you're hoping for, is not going to happen this time around. And I think that takes a huge toll, and it can really, create issues within marital relationships, friendships, community, because it's hard for other people to understand what this experience is like.
Mm-hmm. Let me take a second to introduce you guys to Nutrafol. It is a new, safe, and effective strategy to take control of your hair health. It's made with 100% drug-free ingredients clinically shown to improve thinning hair. It's also recommended by over 850 top physicians and some of the top salons in the country. Nutrafol's formula for women is specifically developed with women's lifestyle and life cycles in mind. Unlike men whose primary hair health concern is genetics, for women, stress plays a huge role in hair thinning. The daily demand of work, life balance, juggling, momming, just being a woman in general, creates an elevated stress hormone in your body. And that is not your hair follicle's best friend, let me tell you that. But whatever your hair means to you, I can tell you that it is worth fighting for. It's been decades since anyone's made meaningful advancements in the health hair industry. But a new world of science and research has just changed the way that we think about hair and its relationship to our overall health. And if you guys want to check it out, you can get your first month's supply with subscription for $10. Just visit NUTRAFOL.com and use our promo code BABES during checkout. That's right. Just go to Nutrafol.com, promo code BABES during checkout to get it for only $10, you guys. And don't forget to check them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and see what Nutrafol is doing in the hair world today.
Is there a way that would help support someone that is, a friend that's going through this? I don't even know. How could you help them?
Is
there a way?
There is a way. And I think that it's so simple and so often overlooked. Like, so many people are trying to be there and then putting their foot in their mouths by saying the wrong thing. And I think that if we just get even more simple with how we are supporting our friends through these things, by simply saying something like, I'm here for you. Anytime you want to talk about this, I'm here. How are you feeling? What happens oftentimes is there's all this kind of projection. Oh, you must be so upset. I can only imagine. Oh, I feel so lucky. I never had to go through that. You must be so da-da-da. Like all of these kinds of twists and turns. And it's partly just because our culture isn't talking about it often enough, so that people are lacking the tools to really just simply show up, be present, and just convey the love.
Yeah, is there
that's beautiful, actually.
Is there like a grief cycle that's pretty similar with a lot of these, like with miscarriage or loss, or like what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, I think that there are some grief models that exist for grief in general, loss in general. And I do think that miscarriage, stillbirth, pregnancy, termination based on medical issues, these grief arcs can kind of look similar to those. So sometimes, for example, people who have a later loss or even an earlier loss, but whatever, what I've seen more often is it's sometimes in cases like mine, later losses people go straight to this, like, when can I try again? It's okay. I'm going to be fine. I'm just going to get right back into this. Like, we just got it. I'm going to be fine. It's not a big. So there is this kind of flight to fight and flight to create again. And that's a real kind of effort to not sink into the depths of despair. And it makes total sense. It's super normal. I tell all my patients, like, grief knows no timeline. Take all the time you need. One day is fine. The next hour is a nightmare. The next day you forget. The next day you don't sleep. I mean, it's just circuitous. It's a roller coaster. Like, there's really no map. So I think that, like, just knowing that and riding the ride and holding tight to truly supportive people in your life can make all the difference.
How do you help someone, I guess, who, like, we had a lot of questions about self-blame.
Mm-hmm.
When you have someone close to you that's just blaming themselves for all these things, like, how do you, not as a psychologist, I guess, like, as a friend as well, like, help someone in that situation?
Well, what I actually often say to patients is, what if you did absolutely nothing wrong? And like this, I mean, that could even just make me cry just saying that, because it's so profound. Because the thing is, I think that we in part blame ourselves with this idea, with this hope that then we can do something differently next time. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was because I worked out. It's because I had sex. Right. It's because I had sushi. It's because I had wine the first week I was pregnant before I even knew. All these things of, like, what I did, what I didn't do. When the medical research shows that that's really sort of not possible. Mm-hmm. 80% of losses have chromosomally, problematic pregnancies. And so it's this self-blame, I think, is a way to feel more in control in situations where we just ultimately don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, we're looking for a reason, and often we just feel like the reason's ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does help to get information. So in my situation, they tested the fetus, and we did learn that there was a chromosomal abnormality. And that helped me, because I do have patients who have experiences where they do the testing and there is no answer. And that mystery is part of why women are going to themselves. It must be me. It must be my eggs. It must be what I ate for breakfast, like this.
Yeah.
So it's, what do we do when we don't have control? Women mostly are taught to kind of go inward and see if they can do something about it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, man.
So
I wish we wouldn't do that.
Right.
I know. Me too.
I really do.
Me too. Right? Don't you think? I mean, can't you relate to that in other ways?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We have someone else who's asking about, she has had 2 miscarriages, and she asked the doctor to kind of refer her to someone to see if there is some sort of issue going on. And they said that they can't refer her until she's had 3 losses. Is that something that's, like, why is 3, I guess, the magic number for that?
I think it's a better question to be answered by a medical professional, but I've heard that as well. And I think that, I think they consider it like 2 can still be a fluke, just kind of not all sperm and eggs do well together, so those may have been chromosomal issues. And that I think that when you have a 3rd, then you go into a category called recurrent loss. And then they want to look deeper into, is something going on in the woman's body? Is something going on with the man's sperm? Is something going on, in the uterus, like other more medically based things, not just conception issues.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that would be a hard thing to sit with. Just have another loss and then we can send you on your way. I mean, that's daunting.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes so hard for women to trust, the harder their journeys become. So if you have one loss, you might then be afraid. If you have two losses, that just changes the game completely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because especially if you don't have a healthy child previously, because you don't know if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a capability of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've decided to start being better about my skincare routine. After having a baby and going through pregnancy, my skin has been totally, absolutely nuts. So I started using BioClarity. It's a great, clean, gentle skincare line that helps me get naturally glowing skin that's 100% vegan and cruelty-free. And it has this new ingredient called Floralux. And it's this clever form of chlorophyll. And it's proven for nourishing the skin, soothing away imperfections and blemishes, has antioxidants, anti-inflammatory properties that feed your skin from the outside in. It's like green juice for your face. It's detox and rebalance. It is absolutely the best. I've been using the essentials routine for normal or dry skin. It's 3 easy steps: cleanse, restore, and hydrate. It contains hydrating plant essentials like chamomile, green tea, cucumber, licorice root, argan, olive oil, and shea, plus Floralax from chlorophyll. And it's hydrating, but like lightweight and great for summertime. I would so recommend doing this. It's just made my skin just back to glowing like it used to be. So if you want to get started on healthier habits with your skincare, just go to bioclarity.com. Our listeners will get their first month for 50% off a routine, plus shipping is free. And it comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee, but you need to enter our code BABES. So that's bioclarity.com and enter code BABES.
We had a lot of people also reach out and say that after experiencing miscarriage or loss, that they would go have really bad dreams, or like even maybe just really bad anxiety, which we touched on a little bit, or even OCD. I guess, how do you help people who, I mean, they think about it all day while they're awake and then they're dreaming about it at night? Like, how do you help them cope?
Well, the dreams, I think that's such an interesting point. What I might recommend to somebody who is dreaming about pregnancy loss, because, you know, some women might think that, oh, this is an insight, or, oh, this is my intuition, like thinking that the dream is telling them something that's going to happen, when that may or may not be the case. We can't know. So it might be useful before bed to do some journaling, kind of to like basically empty the contents of one's mind onto paper, with the hope that then they can sleep through the night. So maybe journaling about the fear. And then also maybe, you know, doing something meditative. So whether it's a true meditation or coming up with some helpful mantras, you know, like, my body is healthy, or I'm going to sleep well tonight, or I'm going to have positive dreams, or there's nothing I can do, but I'm going to keep showing up. Or, I mean, whatever works for people. Everybody resonates with different things, but I think we need to kind of connect with ourselves in those moments when we don't want to at all.
Yeah.
Right? It's like our minds can just like go wild. But what we really need to do is connect with our hearts, connect with our souls, connect with this sense of, you know, I'm here now, and the fear is normal. Mm-hmm. But getting tripped up in the fear is, again, not going to give me any more control.
Right.
So this is something random, but I remember very distinctly from a show a long time ago, Desperate Housewives, but one of the characters was pregnant and she had a miscarriage, and the way that they kind of helped with her grief is she made this balloon, and they went off and they sent the balloon off into the sky, and I just remember crying, and I always will remember that moment because it was so powerful to me. And it's just, I know that grief isn't something that just disappears, and it's a journey and it takes time and it may never be over. But do you recommend things like that to to your clients?
I love that you just brought that up. Yeah. People do a variety of things, and I actually just finished up a piece that should run, I hope, at the beginning of next week. I interviewed a bunch of different women about how they memorialize their losses. Yeah. And that was one thing people talked about, which is the balloon release, you know, and other people do like butterfly releases. Other people do memory boxes, depending on the experience of the loss itself. Some people are able to, you know, maintain the remains of the fetus. So if they cremate the baby, they can do something with the ashes. Some people plant trees in their yard.
Yeah.
Many people I've spoken with get tattoos that are meaningful to them, whether it's the baby's name or, you know, a flower that represents the time that they were to be born or the time that they died, all of these kinds of things. So I do think that it's a really interesting, difficult thing to put one's finger on, because when our grandparent dies, we know exactly what happens.
Yeah.
People send cards because they exist. People send food because that's, of course, what you do. People go and sit Shiva in the Jewish, faith, or do whatever they do, go to church, go to the cemetery, all of these things. But when it's an out of order loss like this, if somebody, for example, has a loss at 30 weeks pregnant and are induced and have to give birth to a dead baby, where are the rules for that? We don't have rituals that are really set up so that we all know the flow of what to do when that happens. I think everybody's just trying to acknowledge their loss in whatever way feels good to them. And it can change over time as well. I didn't do anything specifically to memorialize my loss originally. And as the years have gone on, I've started to, light a candle on the day of my loss. And, I try to do a lot of writing about it. So for me, that's a really important way to memorialize my experience.
Mm-hmm. I love that, because I feel like sometimes with grief too, we feel as time goes on and our grief lessens, if it does, that we're forgetting what happened. And I feel like that's sometimes the scary thing, is we don't ever want to forget them,
That's right. Yeah. And it's interesting. For me, I often feel like I don't want people to forget what I went through. Like, it's not just that they need to remember this fictitious dreamed of baby, but just that I myself was home alone that day. The baby fell out. I had to cut the cord myself, bring the baby to my doctor's office in a bag. I was hemorrhaging. Like, I changed as a woman as a result of that. I mean, absolutely. For good. Yeah. And so it's like, I think we want our loved ones to acknowledge the baby and us, the baby and us, or the longed for baby, the hoped for baby, whatever. Yeah.
What that leads me, I don't know if you guys answered this listener question yet, but oh my gosh, hold on. I'm just going to have to. But I know one of our listeners had a question where her and her husband experienced a miscarriage, and their family doesn't want to acknowledge that it happened. And that's something that she was so desperately seeking, was just the acknowledgement of it. So how do you approach family members when that's the situation, to be like, this mattered, this baby mattered, we mattered in this moment?
I think this is a complex question, and one that I hear a lot. I think that oftentimes what happens is that loss reignites family dynamics that may have pre-existed. So if someone is feeling unacknowledged in their pregnancy loss, maybe if they looked a little deeper into their family history, personal history, they may see, oh, you know what? I didn't feel really acknowledged when such and such happened when I was 12, or such and such happened when I was 20. So maybe this isn't surprising. So that's one thing. But I do think couples or just the woman, can try to communicate clearly. And sometimes that I think it's best through writing. If talking gets muddled and confusing and there's arguments or something, if the couple wants to be clear with their family and friends, this is what happened. This is how we're feeling right now. We felt differently yesterday, so we'll probably feel differently tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And, I feel mixed about the next thing I'm about to say, which is they can invite people to help them in particular ways. But one might argue, why should they have to? So it's both. Okay. So like you would hope that people would know the right thing to do. And yet so many people don't, because there are people who don't want to talk about their losses, but there are people who do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, if it's a family who is saying, oh, just try again. It's going to be fine. Just try again. You're young. It's fine. The couple or the woman could, explicitly say, look, you might be right about all of that, but I lived through this and this is my reality and I'm in pain. So given that you're my mother, my sister, my best friend, and I love you, I would really like to feel like we're connected during this time. Because, relationships change through when hard stuff comes up in our lives sometimes. And, or it can really be the glue and people can really come together. So I think, it's important to try to get the acknowledgement that you need.
Well, thank you seriously so much for coming on. I know this is a very delicate topic that should be discussed more. And I'm glad that we have the platform to be able to bring this to light.
Amazing.
And have an open conversation about it.
Yeah. I just, again, it's like so important to impress upon people that there's no shame in loss. There should be no stigma, that you did nothing to deserve this, and that more people than have gone through this as well.
Absolutely.
If people want to know more about you, where can they get in touch with you?
They can find me on Instagram at I Had a Miscarriage. And my website is Dr. Jessica Zucker.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye. So that was so informative.
Very.
There's so much that I didn't know. And there's so much as a person who is there to help support people by not going through it, I wouldn't have known the right steps to take either. And now I feel like, at least I know some direction if I am ever faced with either having that myself or having a friend go through that.
Yeah, it's so hard because grief, I don't feel like you really know what it's like until you're in it. And grief is so different for everybody. Yeah. And so it's so hard when someone's going through pain and you're on the outside too. And you're like, I don't even know how to help in any way, because you will never be able to be inside their body and know exactly how they feel. But I really feel that people mostly just want to have that validation that we know what happened to them, and we may not be able to feel what happened to them, but we know it happened. And it's great that there are psychologists out there like Jessica that are there to help in those situations. And I think she's amazing in what she's doing, and her campaign on Instagram. I've been following her. I Had a Miscarriage, and I've been following it for a couple years now, and there's some powerful tools on there. So I encourage any of our listeners who are experiencing any kind of grief or loss to check her out, because it's an amazing, powerful tool, I think, that can help you just to feel a little less alone. So
yeah, I think too, for especially the woman who's going through, who went through a loss and her family isn't supporting her. I mean, tell your family to listen to this podcast, if you can't bring it up, maybe just share the podcast with them and they'll open it, and maybe they'll, be able to just at least kind of
shed a little light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I liked what she said, though, too, of sometimes it's just letting them know, like, hey, I'm here for you.
Right.
Or let me know how I can help. You
Right.
know? And maybe it is good to, like, assign if somebody doesn't know how to help you, be like, hey, what would really help me out right now is if you did this. Or if you did that. Or, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes you might not even know what you need. So just knowing that somebody's there, I think is super helpful.
And for those who don't want to talk about it, because some people prefer not to talk about it, I feel her suggestion of journaling or writing or meditating are good ways to help cope with what you're going through, because not everybody wants to open up about it, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
I realize, like, well, I haven't obviously gone through anything like this before, but whenever anything's super stressful in my life, like, I know that I shut down and I detach. And like, journaling is a way that I used to connect or reconnect or deal. And I haven't done that in so long. And I feel like I need to do that. Even just after some of the things she was listening to, like, even just with, like, losing my grandma, I probably still cry about it, like, once a week, you know? And I feel like I haven't dealt with that. So it's like, just even finding those ways to deal with, like, that grief or loss and figuring out what that is for you. So I need to start journaling.
Yeah. I mean, there's all things that in life that we grieve about. Just like you were talking, Carly, too, about you didn't know if you were going to be able to have a baby. And that's a type of loss, too. It really is. And I feel like oftentimes people don't acknowledge that kind of pain as well.
I mean, honestly, like, I moved back from California after I got that news to Texas because I was so just like, I had pictured my life with children in it. And then a doctor said, that's probably not happening for you, which that doctor never should have told me. But I went back to Texas and, like, regrouped my life. And then I froze my eggs. I honestly did not get a lot of eggs. So, it was like another, like, bombshell, like, okay, this probably isn't going to happen for you. So I really did have to start, you know, kind of, I even talked to Evan about adoption. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna be able to have kids. Like, that's honestly the reason we were not very safe, was because I was like, Evan, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'm telling you, like, I've had 2 doctors be like, your odds are slim here. And I mean, we are obviously blessed with a miracle, but that was something that I almost had to look at my life and be like, okay, this isn't going to happen. So if I do want kids, how am I going to do this? Like, you know, I obviously married into a family where he
now
had
you have
kids.
4 kids.
But, you know, we even talked about adoption the other day. Like, you know, it's just, you know, you start picturing your life in a different way, and you do, like, start mourning a loss that hasn't happened yet. It's very
Carly,
it's very interesting.
Do you remember the moment that Tanner and I came down for Paradise 3 and we did those interviews for the date card, and you and I had stepped aside, and it was just when you were, like, not quite sure about Evan.
Yes, I'll never forget that.
You were like, oh my gosh, I kind of, like, I didn't like him at first, and now we had this moment, and now I think I'm in. You're like, I think I like this guy. And we had this heart to heart, and you looked at me and you're like, you know, he has a family. And what if this is God's direction telling me this is my family?
Oh, I just got chills.
I know.
Yeah,
and I will. Yeah, and it's just crazy how that worked out for you. And now you guys 100%. Have not only his boys, but now you have your beautiful Bella. And
and
I'm gonna cry right now.
I know. I really did plan on that. Like, that was my family, and that's what I remember telling my mom too. Mom, I just think that, like, you know, I'm not allowed to have kids on my own, so God provided me kids. And then he obviously provided me more kids in a way that I never expected. But, I mean, you know, Evan and I talk about having more kids now, and I do have major anxiety that because I didn't get a lot of eggs, because my eggs weren't all great, that I might not be able to have another one. So I'm still like, okay, well, you know, if it happens, that's going to be amazing, and it's going to be another miracle. And that's kind of how I have been thinking about it. And if it doesn't, then maybe I'm just not supposed to have another one. And we have 4, so we're doing okay, you know. But it is so to wrap my mind around the fact that now I've been given 4 children when I thought I would have none is crazy. And it came in a totally different way than I would expect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really wild.
That is
And
wild.
Bella is so stinking cute. She
Oh my
is
gosh.
looking more and more like you
I
all the
know.
time. She's like a
very
mini Carly.
exciting.
It's so
It's
cute.
very exciting.
Okay, so when she was first born, I thought she was 50-50. Now I feel like she's 100% you. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Evan, but I don't see him anymore.
It's so funny. He like loves that she's a mini me. Like he
Oh,
thinks
really?
it's the best thing. Yeah, he does not care. I mean, his kids look exactly like him. Like
True.
his boys look just like him. And now all the time, like if I'll send him, if he's out of town and I send him a picture, he's like, "Oh my gosh, she's such a mini Carly. I just love her so much." I'm like, that's so nice. But it is really fun. And she's already has my personality. I was on Instagram yesterday. I showed this video of her barking orders at all of the movers in my parents' house because they would walk in and she'd be like, "Bah! Bah!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are screaming at these people. Like, you can't just scream at them. And it's not screaming out of any reason other than she loves the sound of her voice. And now, oh gosh, what's so cute, you guys, is like if I'm rocking her to sleep, like I normally sing to her. And if she has a passy in her mouth, she'll be like,
Oh, she's singing with you.
I seriously think she's singing, you guys.
Oh,
it's
that's
like my
so
greatest
cute.
achievement.
That's
It's
so cute.
She like self-soothes by like humming. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's the best
Oh my
thing
gosh.
ever.
Okay. Also, not to change the subject, but I googled the Thinks panties.
Yes,
and
tell me all the
It
things.
is Mila Kunis who supports.
Yes, I knew it.
She calls them menstrual underwear, so I don't know if it's necessarily the
Oh.
brand Thinks, but she wears
Okay.
menstrual underwear.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw that on something and I was very curious, but I just don't know that I would like the free bleed. I don't know that I could do it. Like,
I
Jay, do
would
you wear just a new pair? Do you change them during the day? How many pairs of these do you own?
Yeah, you change them during the day, so they can hold up to like 1 to 2 tampons worth.
Wow. That's so
So,
weird.
Would you
You
wear
guys
them?
are so all natural.
Well, it just feels better to my body. But yeah. You guys.
I just can't. I don't know. I might try it. This isn't an ad, by the way. We're just
would-
talking about
Would you wear them if Chrissy Teigen wore them?
Yes. You guys, speaking of Chrissy Teigen, did you guys see this photo that she posted the other day? She has her new baby like in her right arm and then her other baby in her left arm. And the caption is like, which photo should I post? The one where the baby's head is not elevated or what
looks
do they call it,
unsupported.
Jade?
Looks
Yeah,
unsupported.
looks unsupported, or the one that I look really pretty in or something. And I was like, God, that's so true. Evan and I used to post photos all the time, and in every photo it would be like, you guys are not supporting your baby's head. And it's
I
like,
know.
this is crazy. This baby is just fine. And it's just so funny that she already makes fun of it before people even say anything. I
Yes.
love Chrissy
I just
Teigen.
Googled it, and it's
Yeah.
a great photo.
Is that not so funny? Oh, and
Yeah.
I went down a really bad rabbit hole on social media today because I was like, who are these social media moms that like I need to like look at to get tips on how to mom? So of course my mind goes directly to Britney Spears because why
Naturally.
wouldn't it? And her videos of her and her boys, she like thinks she's so funny, you guys, and she's not funny. Like she's like, my boys scared me in today, so I'm gonna scare them. And then she'll be like, she'll walk around the corner and be like, boo. And the kid just
Oh
like
my
looks at her and
gosh,
she's like,
stop
okay,
it.
that didn't work. I'm like, that was like not a good post.
Yeah, but her
weird.
her clothing struts are everything.
Oh my gosh, they are everything. That's how you need to mom right there. Whenever you put on a cute outfit, you strut, girl. You strut.
You strut.
I'm gonna do some strutting videos and send them to you guys this week. That's my new goal.
Please do.
Oh my gosh, please do. I think we should all do some strutting this week on our Insta. You're welcome,
sure.
everyone.
If
You're
you're,
You can get some struts.
please send them back to us too.
Oh, yes. We want your strutting video.
Can we do a challenge? The strut challenge.
Yeah. Oh,
strut
also, on our Facebook group or Instagram or on our Instagram messages, can you please send me more funny, ridiculous moms to follow? Because I need some mom entertainment in my life, and Britney Spears was giving me life. Oh, and so was Jessica Simpson, because she posted a picture of her daughter on a plane, and she was pointing to that little thing that's like, in case of emergency, and one of the things is has a heel, and then it's crossed out, like, don't wear heels in case of emergency.
Oh,
and the
no.
little girl's pointing to it like, oh, no. And it's just so funny. I was like, of course, Jessica Simpson's all like, wait, no heels. I was like, I love that she's instilling that in her daughter already. Also, her daughter is gorgeous. It's like, it's ridiculous.
How old's her daughter?
I don't know how old she is. Maybe like, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know ages.
I think her name is Max, right?
I think it's Maxwell.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
But she's so pretty. Like, she has these big, like, luscious lips and super blonde hair.
Of course.
Big eyes. Gosh, she's so pretty.
Anyway, look it up now too. Mm-hmm. Just so you guys know, so we started our Instagram like a few weeks ago, and in the last couple days got over 1,000 followers. So we made it to our first 1,000 followers on Instagram, guys.
Yay! And we would like 1,001 or 2.
No, now we have like 1,100, but
that's awesome. We would like 1,100.
I know we have like 15,000 in our Facebook group. So everyone following us on Facebook, go follow our Instagram.
Yeah, come on over. We're going to do some giveaways and really fun things and takeovers and all sorts of stuff on there. So
definitely.
We're just starting, but it will be a good Instagram to follow. We'll do some strutting for you on there at some point.
We'll do the strut challenge on there.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. We are we're just happy to be doing this and happy to be having so much feedback from you guys. And also thank you for every time we ask questions for giving us questions to ask our guests, because that's really helpful and super important so that you guys can be heard as well.
Totally. You guys make sure to subscribe and listen to us on iTunes at Babes and Babies. And Liz, I'm letting you in this because I'm distracted.
Is this Babes and Babies or Babes and Boobies, Jade?
I know.
Jade's breastfeeding right now.
It's boobies all day over here.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. If you can you can like it on there too. Our Facebook group, Instagram, all of that. And thank you guys, everything that Carly said. Thank you so much for the feedback and just being a part of this like community with us, where we are trying to come together as women and support each other in the journey of becoming moms and motherhood and parenting, and not shaming each other, just really supporting each other. And you guys have just been absolutely awesome. So thank you guys so much. This was our 24th episode. I can't believe it.
I know.
Wow.
It's been 6 months, you guys.
Whoa, that's so weird. Also, that's weird that Bella is 5 months old this coming week.
I know.
How did that happen? Whoa.
But tune in next week, guys. We will have some really exciting stuff for you, per usual. But yeah, everyone have a great week, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Babes and Babies, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.